I grew up here in New Brunswick, just down the road in Moncton. I've been living in Australia for the last 10 years. So when I moved to Australia, I was an accountant, and I was sort of in like an unhappy state, and I went through quite a bit of a change in the last 10 years. I started adopting spirituality into my daily life, and I changed my diet a little bit, and I started working with a lot of metaphysical practices, and I went through quite a bit of a change. So I went from being an accountant to an energetic kinesiologist, and I also do other sort of healing modalities as well, numerous ones that I've adopted over the years. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is earth-based medicines and traditions. So also in the last 10 years, I've done quite a bit of travel all through the world, learning different traditions and healing modalities. A couple of the main traditions that really touched my heart were the Shediac people down in South America, and also the First Nations here in New Brunswick. So with the Shediac people down in South America, I first came across a shaman down there in 2009, and I just started doing ceremonies with them and working with a plant spirit medicine called ayahuasca. Now that particular medicine, it really changed my perspective on how I looked at life, and it changed me on so many different levels. There's quite a few people traveling down to South America these days to experience these medicines, and I think that's just a reflection of the change that's happening and the change that needs to happen within the world. So my first trip down to South America, I spent a couple months working with this particular shaman, and it really changed my life. So for the past 3 years, I've been bringing groups down there to work within these traditions. I've been bringing groups down there to work within these traditions, and a lot of the people that come down there with me are looking to make changes in their life, like big changes, and like change in perspective, and some of them like for physical healing, and some of the things that I've seen happen, just even within myself and with some of the people that I've brought down there, it's just remarkable, you know. Like, so ayahuasca is quite a powerful curative, one of the strongest that I've come across. Like, people are using it to heal spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and I've seen some really remarkable things happen. There's people using it to reverse health problems that are curable according to modern medicine. So I find that really, really interesting. One guy that I brought down there last year, I saw him cure his hearing, and he was deaf in one ear for about 10 years. So it's really remarkable stuff that's happening down there. And another tradition that I've really become fond of is the Mi'kmaq traditions here in New Brunswick. So I've just been in touch with them in the last 3 or 4 years. I first started doing sweat lodges back then, and I just find the power of those traditions just as good, you know. So I've done the sweat lodges, and I was really blessed to meet a Mi'kmaq medicine woman just in the last couple of years, and she's been giving me some teachings about some of the sacred plants and traditions, and I find that really, really powerful as well. So one thing that I find all these traditions have in common is bringing people back into balance. And I think with the modern healthcare system the way it is, and with big pharma pretty well controlling like all the Western world, they've tended just to focus on one aspect of health. And so when you look at treating people holistically, there's a couple different parts of being healthy. I've got a little printout here just from my my kinesiology, one of my kinesiology books. So this is the triad of health. And on one side of it's the emotional and mental aspect. On the other, it's physical and structural. And on the other side of it's the nutritional and biochemical. And so if you're having health concerns, you really have to tackle it from all three angles. You can't just expect to take a magic pill and it's going to cure you. Disease happens when these things are out of balance. So if you truly want to improve health and cure disease, you have to really look at it from the three different angles. I'd like to just pass this around and everybody can take a closer look. So all of the traditional peoples, they focus on healthcare and all those three aspects. It's really just the modern medicine that only tackles the biochemical and giving you a pill, you know? Now, like I've noticed a real big trend happening just in the last couple of years as well, like through my journey. I noticed that people are starting to go away from the modern medicine way of doing things, and they're starting to look more for alternatives. And I just see it happening all around me all the time. Every time I come here to New Brunswick to visit my family and friends, I see more and more Chinese medicine doctors and more naturopaths and more different modalities that people are adopting. And I just think that's really important. And I think another thing, just with big pharma and the modern medical industry that I find quite interesting is, like back in the old days, before big pharma became born, the medical industry was never ever involved with the merchants. They were always separate, and I think that's where we've gone wrong. As soon as Big Pharma was born and people started looking at them for solutions, I think that's where all these problems have really started. Traditionally, the medicine people, they weren't involved with money. Like none of them really cared about that sort of thing. Like if you look at the traditions here in New Brunswick, the medicine people, they were always looked after. So if the tribe killed a moose, the best cut of the meat, like they give that to the medicine people. They never had any money, but they were always looked after. And I think that's true with all the other traditions. I know it's been true with a lot of the traditions that I've worked with down in Peru. None of the shamans really care about money, but they're always well looked after. And I just think that's really important. Another thing that I've noticed with all of the traditional cultures is the importance of song and dance. And that's really important to keep the mental and emotional in check. With all the sweat lodges that I go to, like that's how people stay happy and they let go of all their emotion and stuff that's built up during the week. I just think it's really, really important aspect, the song and dance. Because people, with communities that sing and dance together, stay together. So I think I'll just leave it on that. And I'll end off in a song. So I'll be available for some questions once I'm done singing, so please stick around. And this song was, this song comes from a guy by the name of Manus Aloha from Hawaii, and I find it just really sums up everything I've learned about the medicine people and all the sacred plants and community and coming back into the heart. So I'll share it. Tell me if the